Multiplying fractions is going to be one of the more straightforward things that we can do. So when we're multiplying, it does not matter what your fractions look like. Doesn't matter if you have the same denominator. The common denominator idea only counts for adding and subtracting. When you multiply, we are going to multiply straight across. Boom, boom. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 5 is 20. Now ask yourself, can I simplify this? Can I divide both numbers by the same thing and get a nice perfect smaller answer at the end? No, not for 3 and 20. Let's try this next one. If we're multiplying, we can literally just straight up multiply straight across to get 14 on top, 6 on the bottom. Now ask yourself, can I divide both numbers by the same number to get a smaller fraction? In this case, they're both even, so I can divide by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And there's my final answer. So for this one, I needed to simplify. Always simplify if you can. Now, if you have a fraction times a whole number, you can put any whole number over 1, so that way you have a nice organized top and bottom. And now we can just multiply straight across. 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 1/4 is 5/4 then. Dividing fractions is going to be very similar to multiplying, but it will require one more step. Whenever you divide a fraction divided by a fraction, you need to multiply times the reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal, which is a fancy way of saying copy dot flip that you might have heard in middle school. So in order to multiply by the reciprocal, that's the fancy way to say what we're doing right now. We're going to copy dot flip. We're going to copy the first fraction the exact way it is. Turn your division into a multiplication dot, then flip your second fraction. And now since it's multiplying, we go straight across. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 1 is 4. Ask yourself, can you simplify this? Can we divide both numbers by the same thing to get a perfect smaller fraction? In this case, both of these are divisible by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. My answer would be 3/2 there. All you have to do is make sure you do your copy dot flip, and then it's just like a multiplication problem. So over here, once again, I'm dividing. So I'm going to copy the first fraction, change my division into a multiplication dot, and I will flip my second fraction. And now I can just multiply straight across. 5 times 7 is 35. 3 times 2 is 6. Can I divide both of these numbers by the same thing? Well, I know I can divide 35 by 7 or 5. This I can divide by 3 or 2 or 6. So it looks like I can't do anything. I can't divide by the same number there. Once again, we're going to copy, change it to multiplication, flip it, and now we can multiply straight across. 10 times 9 is 90. 3 times 2 is 6. I notice both of these are even numbers since this ends with 0 and 6. So I know, as usual, it seems, I can divide by 2. 90 divided by 2 is 45. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now I gotta ask myself, can I divide both of these numbers by the same number? And I can actually. I can divide both of these by 3. 45 divided by 3 is 15. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And anytime we end up with 15 over 1 like this, our answer is just actually 15.